Part 2 of Kamen Rider 01. If you didn't see the first part, I would suggest going and watching that first, but this is Nerd Culture News, where I bring you facts about fiction. So we left off at about the halfway point, 25 episodes in. So after that, basically we were getting Mr. 1000 guy going and taking over the company. It turns out that Aruto lost. He lost the rights to his company. And honestly, this is where I see the series taking a major dive downward. The reason for that is Aruto was always such a bewildered, kind of character that, he just doesn't know anything. So he's kind of seeing the world through our eyes in a way. And that was always kind of nice. But at the second half of the series, he's just not as energetic. I understand that he's sad. That is a part of character development. Maybe they're trying to portray that he is maturing, but I liked the more jokey nature of him. And I do understand that there's a lot more serious things that do happen in the second half. I felt like he was sidelined so much in his own story. When you look at Vulcan, who I called Bad Wolf in the last video, he was he got such an interesting story with the probe in his brain to where, now we know that he actually has to listen to Thouser, and that's why Catbug girl is listening to him supposedly. And so we had that whole thing, and it was just okay, they're getting really interesting stories and aspects that go along with this. And Aruto was just kind of I'm here when you need the main hero to come in and save the day. There's more skids now too. It's not just Jin and Horobi. No, they've got a whole squad of skids, and apparently one of them was inside of Vulcan's head this whole time. So now they're out. They've got a squad. It's an okay squad, it's just, I would say it's more that there's more of them as opposed to it being some big thing that there's a more powerful one or anything. They're all kind of baseline right there with each other. Eventually, Arc does get his own form. Usually he's going through somebody through Horobi or Jin. And even at later on in it, he goes through Aruto 01. Basically, you get to this part where Aruto's okay, I don't know what to do because I go and look and there's no more upgrades to 01. What do I do? And he kind of has to learn, I can't just go off of what my dad designed and what these computers are designing. I had to step up and do it myself sometimes. So he goes, sits down, figures it all out, and makes 02 with Ys. And so now he's got 02 armor, which is just basically 01 armor with some red accents, but it's okay because it's a new form, which means it's more powerful than all of the last forms. So that's what he's going to use for a good bit of it until he ends up going evil. And I didn't really click with him being evil thing. It just seemed so out of character for him, even if it was the way that they portrayed it. It didn't quite click. And I think that they just didn't handle his character as well. And it was good, but it was one of those, all the characters get to kind of live endings, even though we had the death of Ys, and that was very sad. But, most of the characters, it wasn't there was a big tragic ending in all reality. But I did enjoy the series overall. This was my first foray into Kamen Rider. I still think that this is a pretty good one to start out with. I think my biggest issue with it, more than anything, was I was binge watching, where this show seems to do much better on a week-to-week style basis, or maybe just picking up an episode or two, because it is very episodic. So there are stretches where you feel like you're really not getting anywhere. There's an end goal to those, much like when they had the competition between the little spectacle things and from Zaya and the Human Gears, when they had that whole competition. It's okay, you're still just slowly building your way through those, because most of those competitions were going to be 2 episodes per competition. The characters were still charming. It is fun. There was 5 recap episodes. Is that normal? Is that normal for Kamen Rider to have 5 recaps? Each little group of characters had their own separate recaps. I do understand that this did happen during the pandemic, so a lot of the things were probably changed or rushed So I just thought it was kind of 5. That's a lot. This definitely did have one of those safer, all the villains are eventually gonna be good kind of stories to it, because Arc is just a virus that is essentially one of those little squishy balls that you could get inside of like a 50-cent machine growing up. Like, that's what he looked like. They showed him like one time where it's this little squishy ball thing that talks to him. But he cares if the evil squishy ball ends up going at the end, because we've already gotten attached to Hirobi and Jin, so they actually get to, you know, they get to do their thing. You know, they have a new purpose, and the series did kind of cap out with a but wait, there's more, because we do know that there is a movie after this, but I have not watched that yet. I'm going to save that for its own separate video. But with this being my first Kamen Rider series, I'm going to give this a very baseline. This is a very middle of the road. It was good, not too bad kind of rating, and I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. This is going to be my baseline to know of what goes up and below it right now, because right now I am also getting started into Kamen Rider Geats. I am watching Super Sentai King Oger, and I do want to eventually pick up another Kamen Rider. I'm probably going to go with X8 after this. What did you think of Kamen Rider 01? Were you into it, or did you have your lulls towards the end of it like I did? Let me know in the comments. Go ahead and give me a subscribe, because we're going to be doing a lot more content like this, but also other amazing videos exploring the nerdosphere. Make sure that you're subscribed, give us some likes, and as always, have yourself a beautiful day.